Welcome to the deep dive. You asked about Ruby's place, in the whole AI and machine learning scene, especially when Python seems to be everywhere.
Yeah, it really does feel like Python's leading the charge.
Right. So we've gathered a bunch of discussions, articles, all that stuff to really unpack why Python's so dominant right now.
And also explore, does Ruby still have a role? What are people actually doing with it in AI?
Exactly. We're looking at Reddit threads from places like Rails and Ruby.
Real developer talk. And articles too, like from Django Stars on why Python's good for AI, Coursera on Python libraries.
Data Science Central comparing them head to head. Some Ruby-specific stuff from CodeMiner42 DEV community.
Oh, and those GitHub lists.
Yep.
The ones curating Ruby AI projects. Really useful finds there.
Definitely. So the mission for you listening in is to kind of get the lay of the land with Ruby and Python in AML. Understand the pros, the cons, without getting totally lost in jargon.
We want to focus on the why behind the trends, maybe uncover some interesting bits you hadn't heard.
Okay, let's dive in then. Python. Why is it like the king of the hill in AI and ML right now?
Well, the biggest thing you hear again and again is libraries. Just a massive, mature ecosystem built specifically for this stuff.
Like what kind of libraries are we talking about?
You've got the absolute foundations, like NumPy, essential for handling big arrays of numbers efficiently. A lot of it is actually C code underneath, which makes it super fast.
Ah, right. So Python's easy to write, but it calls on faster code for the heavy lifting.
Exactly. Then there's Pandas for, manipulating data, cleaning it up. Scikit-learn is huge, tons of standard machine learning algorithms ready to go.
Okay.
And for the really complex stuff, deep learning, you have TensorFlow, Keras, PyTorch. These are the industry standards, really.
So that's a huge advantage, just having all those tools readily available and optimized.
It's enormous. And tied into that is the community.
The people using it.
Yeah, it's vast, active, supportive. If you hit a snag with Python in AI, chances are someone's already solved it, written a blog post, answered on Stack Overflow.
Right. You're not reinventing the wheel constantly.
Well,
There's help readily available.
Precisely. Tutorials, best practices, shared code. It just speeds everything up.
Okay, libraries, community. What else? I hear it's easier to learn.
That's another big point. Python syntax is often described as, well, almost like English, or at least closer to it than many other languages.
More readable.
Definitely. Which is great for, say, academics or scientists who want to focus on the research, the algorithms, not wrestle with complex code structure. Python values simplicity and clarity, explicit over implicit.
Makes sense. I saw someone on Reddit saying they got productive way faster in Python compared to Ruby, especially with Ruby's more advanced stuff like metaprogramming.
Yeah, Ruby can have a steeper curve there, even though it's also known for elegance. Python's initial learning curve often feels gentler for this kind of work.
And its history. Did that play a part?
Oh, absolutely, big time. Python was adopted in universities and research labs quite early on. So those early AML libraries, many were developed in academic settings using Python, which then attracted more researchers to Python who built more libraries.
Ah, virtuous cycle, kind of?
Exactly. It just built momentum. Some even say professors liked it because it looked a bit like the pseudocode in textbooks. Easy transition.
Never thought of that. And Python's useful for other things too, right? It's not just AI.
Precisely. It's a great general-purpose language.
Mhm.
Scripting, automation, web development with things like Django, even GUIs.
So if you already use Python for other stuff, using it for AI is just natural.
It makes it convenient, yeah. And things like early support on cloud platforms like AWS Lambda also helped cement its place. Oh, and platform independence running easily on Windows, Mac, Linux. That was historically a bigger advantage than maybe it is today, but it helped early on.
Okay, so a powerful combination. Libraries, community, ease of learning, history, versatility. It paints a pretty clear picture for Python.
It really does.
So then,
Yeah.
where does that leave Ruby? What's its story in the AML world?
Well, historically, Ruby's big moment, its main focus, was undeniably web development. Ruby on Rails, right?
Right. Huge impact there.
Absolutely. But that intense focus, as the CodeMiner42 blog points out, might have meant less collective energy went into building out, say, the scientific and ML libraries compared to Python.
So the tooling for AI just didn't develop as quickly or as broadly.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
If you compare something fundamental like SciPy, Python started way back, tons of contributions, super mature with its Ruby equivalent, like SciRuby. Well, SciRuby is much younger and seemed, frankly, less active now. The difference is stark.
Wow, okay. That really highlights the different paths they took. But Ruby does have strengths, right?
Yeah.
Things that could be useful for AI.
Definitely. Ruby's praised for being really flexible, expressive.
Yeah.
Its meta-programming is powerful code that writes code. That could be really neat for like rapid prototyping or dynamic AI systems.
Interesting potential there.
And crucially, its strength in web development is still a major asset. If you want to build a web app and integrate AI features, Ruby, especially with Rails, is still a fantastic choice for the web part.
Okay, so maybe not for building the core models from scratch usually, but great for the application around the AI.
That seems to be a key area, and despite that history, there is growing interest in actual development in Ruby AI now. We're seeing new libraries pop up.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Well, there's Torch.rb, which gives you bindings to PyTorch, lets you use that powerful deep learning framework from Ruby.
Okay, tapping into the Python ecosystem there.
Exactly. Then there's Rumail, which aims to be a general ML toolkit, kind of like scikit-learn, but for Ruby. It even has some parallel processing support.
Nice.
EPS focuses on specific types of models, like Bayesian stuff, and interestingly, it can work with models you built in R or Python.
Huh. Integration again.
Yeah, and LangChain.rb is getting some buzz. It tries to be an abstraction layer, making it easier to use various AI tools and APIs together within Ruby.
That sounds really useful, simplifying things for developers.
It definitely lowers the barrier. So the community is building things.
So if the native Ruby libraries aren't always there yet, can Ruby devs just use the Python ones?
Yes, and that's a really common and practical approach. Ruby has ways to call code written in other languages. You can use something called FFI to talk to C libraries, and crucially, there's a gem called PyCall
PyCall lets you call Python code.
directly from your Ruby code. So you can leverage all those mature, optimized Python AI libraries, NumPy, Pandas, scikit-learn, without leaving your Ruby project entirely.
That seems like a very sensible strategy. Kind of gets you the best of both worlds, maybe.
It is a very pragmatic way to bridge the gap, yeah. Use Ruby for what it's great at, like the web framework, and call out to Python for the heavy AI lifting when needed.
So given that ability, what are people actually using Ruby for in AI? Are there specific niches emerging?
One area that comes up a lot, especially with Rails, is AI chatbots.
Ah, okay. Why is Ruby good for that?
Well, Rails is known for rapid development, right? Getting something up and running quickly, that's great for chatbots. Plus, it integrates well with external APIs, like the big LLM APIs from OpenAI or others.
Makes sense. Easy to wire things together.
And Rails has fantastic tools for background jobs, Sidekick, Resc. Chatbots often need to do processing in the background, so that's crucial. Add in Rails scalability, security features, the strong community. It makes a compelling case. That DDV community article really hammered those points for chatbot development in 2025.
So leaning into web strengths again. Build a chat interface, manage the state, handle background tasks with Ruby Rails, maybe call out to an AI service for the actual thinking.
That's a very common pattern. Ruby becomes the orchestrator, the user-facing layer.
It sounds like a solid niche. And are there, like, communities forming around this Ruby AI intersection?
Yeah, definitely. You see groups like Ruby AI builders popping up on Discord and X, and those GitHub lists we mentioned, like Awesome Ruby AI, they're actively maintained, showing real interest and collecting resources, libraries, projects, articles.
That's encouraging. It shows people are invested.
Yeah.
What about actual experiences? What are developers saying on, like, Reddit about trying this stuff?
Some really interesting threads there. A common point is if your AI needs are mostly just calling, say, an OpenAI API for text generation, the language you use for that call might not matter that much. It's often just an HTTP request.
Okay, so for simpler integrations, Ruby's perfectly fine.
Right. But when you get into more intensive stuff like working directly with vector databases for similarity search or training your own custom models, that's where people often say, yeah, Python's libraries just make it easier right now.
That lines up with the hybrid approach, doesn't it? Ruby for the app, Python for the deep ML parts.
Exactly. That idea of having a separate Python service for the AI bits, talking to the main Rails app via an API or maybe a message queue, that comes up a lot as a practical setup.
Makes sense architecturally.
You also hear the sentiment sometimes that Ruby kind of missed the boat on the core AI wave, but it's still fantastic for building the actual application.
But people are building AI companies with Ruby.
Oh, yeah. We saw comments from folks saying their company's stack is primarily Rails, and they use Python specifically for the deep ML components, highlighting how fast they can build the web product side with Rails.
So using Rails for its agility, even in an AI context. Are there any technical reasons, though, why Ruby itself might be less suited for some core AI tasks? Performance, maybe?
That does come up. Ruby's dynamic typing, which gives it flexibility, can sometimes be seen as a drawback for heavy data processing, where strict types can catch errors early.
Right, managing complex data pipelines.
And performance, while much improved in recent Ruby versions, is still a perception thing. Python's core numerical libraries, being wrappers around CC++Win, are just incredibly optimized for raw computation.
So for the really number crunchy stuff.
Python often has the edge. One user laid out a detailed case about why, for building the absolute core ML systems and data pipelines, things like static typing or functional programming paradigms, which are maybe more central in other languages, can be beneficial.
Okay, so some valid technical considerations there alongside the library maturity issue.
Hmm.
It leads to the big question then. Can Ruby actually, catch up in AI?
The general feeling seems to be probably not to the point of overtaking Python as the main language for core AI research and development. Python's lead there is pretty huge.
Right.
But that doesn't mean Ruby doesn't have a strong future in AI. It has clear potential in specific areas, especially where its web strengths shine or where integration is key.
So finding its niches.
Exactly. And that growing ecosystem of Ruby AI libraries shows the community is serious about building out its capabilities. It's carving out its space.
Okay, let's try and wrap this up for you. Unpacking all this, it seems pretty clear Python's got a major head start in AI and ML. The libraries, the huge community, that academic history. It all adds up.
Definitely a dominant position right now.
But the Ruby community isn't just sitting back. There's real interest, real progress in building Ruby's own AI tools and integrations.
Absolutely. It's not standing still.
And for certain things, especially building web apps with AI features, chatbots,
Yeah.
where Rails speed and structure are beneficial, Ruby looks like a really strong option.
And that ability to just call Python libraries from Ruby, that's a huge safety net, a really flexible approach.
Yeah, bridges the gap nicely.
So this whole deep dive kind of brings up an interesting thought for you to ponder. Given Ruby's power in web development, its, let's say, elegant developer experience, and this growing but still smaller AI toolkit, are there specific AI applications where using Ruby might actually offer a unique advantage? Maybe something overlooked because everyone's so focused on Python. Like, could combining slick Rails interfaces with these emerging Ruby AI gems lead to some really compelling, user-friendly AI products that maybe feel different?
That's a great question to leave things on. Definitely food for thought. We obviously just scratched the surface here.
For sure.
All the links, the articles, the GitHub lists we talked about, they're in the show notes if you want to go deeper. What do you think about all this? Are you using Ruby for AI, thinking about it?
Yeah, we'd love to hear your experiences or any other questions you have.
Absolutely. Check out those resources, keep exploring, and keep diving deeper.